Hello, Rebusundead here, bringing you a review of Tomodachi Life for the Nintendo 3DS and 2DS. If you haven't heard of this game yet, it is very similar to Tamagotchis from the 90s. You basically create your own Miis, and they live on this island, as you can see on the screen. And pretty much you create the Miis very similar to like the Wii U version or the Wii Mii Creator. You just kind of go in here, create one from scratch. But unlike the Mii creators from those games, you actually have like set personalities and all kinds of different parameters for like each Mii. We're just gonna go ahead. We're gonna create this one real quick. We'll give them. You give them voices. They talk. It's very similar to like a high-pitched chipmunks from those movies. And I'm just going to quickly set like personality. And as you can see, like this one's like outgoing and an entertainer. And once you finish creating them, they move into this apartment with the rest of your Miis. And they kind of will like have their own personality, and you can very basically interact with them. You really can't do much other than like checking their faces and like forcing them to talk and that kind of stuff. You can also feed them. You can give them clothes, hats, apartment colors, and like basically designs for their apartment. Random items. Pretty much the random items though is the only way you can actually interact with a character. When you give them this side like an item, it might make them like get older or do other weird events. But you can't actually take control of any of the characters in the game. They're completely on their own. They don't do anything that like you ask them to do. They're very just, you create them, they do random stuff, they'll hang out with other people in this apartment. They'll basically just live their own lives. And the other thing you can do with them is pretty much solve problems for them. So if you have one that like he might ask you for food, you can give him food to eat, and when you give him the food, it'll fill up a food meter, which really doesn't do anything. If they're hungry, there's really no downside. They'll just keep complaining about it until you give them food. And there is random like events that occur on the island, but once again, you're not really doing much with the actual characters. You're just kind of watching like a cutscene. And for example, this is like a boom battle, like rap battle thing that occurs like every night. And unfortunately, it does get kind of stale because you see like very similar raps and everything. But like I can't do anything. I can tap all over the screen if I want, but nothing's going to happen. Now, the Miis will end up having like these mini games they'll want you to play, but they're so simplistic. Like you'll get one that's just like match tiles. So just flip a couple random tiles. If they match, you win a prize. And really the prizes that you win for them, you really can either only give back to them or sell them at like a pawn shop. And that's pretty much the whole game. Now this game's like so weird though, with like its ideas of like Japanese culture. Everything in it is just steeped in Japanese culture. It's very silly. They kind of just go through this random stuff that occurs. Like this is a perfect example. They basically show you a cutscene of a beached whale that is an inflatable toy. Why? Who knows? It's a game that tries to be silly just to be silly. And it's a game that like, I actually do enjoy this game. I really enjoy playing this game. I like watching the Miis. I like watching them do stuff. I like trying to give them different foods. But I grew up with like playing Animal Crossing with like my friends and siblings. So for me, I'm used to these kind of games. I do actually enjoy these games. But this one is so hard to recommend. It's so hard when you have games like Animal Crossing, like I said, where you can actually like do stuff with people, you can actually interact with your neighbors. This game doesn't allow you to really do anything even with other people. Like, you have to actually be physically near someone to trade a me to them. And even when you trade like a me to them to like visit their island and everything, you're not actually doing anything. You're not actually controlling their me or anything like that. You can just have it live in the apartment, do that stuff. But there's no real point to it. There's no real online element to the game. And it seems like they really tried to push out some cool ideas like, oh, we're going to have like a popularity board. We're going to have the ability to like change your apartment. We're going to have random cutscenes to add that kind of like funny element. So it's not the same thing every day. That's like a huge problem I always have with like games like this, is everything after a while you just kind of get stuck in that routine. And I've already seen a lot of that happening with this game. I have had times where a lot of the events will just be the same thing. So really, the only way I can recommend this game is if you do love games like Animal Crossing, you really want to play something that's very similar to having an old Tomodachi from the 90s, and you just kind of want to do that kind of stuff, I would definitely recommend giving this game a try when it like drops down in price. It's just really hard to recommend it, and it's just so difficult to say, yes, go out and buy this game. But I have to give Nintendo credit because they at least are trying some different things. They're trying, it's not Mario, it's not Zelda, it's at least trying something different and not just going through the motions. But I can't recommend it. So this has been Rebus Reviews. I unfortunately have to give this game kind of a thumb down. But if you enjoyed this review or want to see some different things with it, leave a comment, subscribe if you'd like. But until then, have a good day.